Hello and welcome to 5-Year Club video number 173. When the lottery is good. So we're going to talk about the lottery a bit today. Back in the day, in the 1940s, the lottery was a lot different. It wasn't run as a government benefit organization. Instead, it was just run by local people who wanted to run a lottery. They would pass out like actual tickets, and then a winning ticket would be determined by random fluctuations in the price of commodities like eggs. And these prices would appear in a local newspaper, so everyone knew what the price was. It couldn't be faked, and it wasn't legal. The authorities did not like it. States had vice laws, and people who ran lotteries got cracked down on. But that doesn't mean they didn't happen. They kept happening because people like lotteries. If you read the book Predictably Irrational, I think it might talk about it. But yeah, the lotteries are really good at gaming human psychology, and the governments figure this out. States have figured this out, and that's why the California lottery started in the 1980s. Georgia lottery, I think, was authorized in 1992, and then in 1996 we had the Mega Millions slash Powerball come into existence. Its first name was the Big Game. It's now offered in 44 states. Mega Millions partnered with the Multi-State Lottery Association to cross-sell tickets to become really big. The Multi-State Lottery Association is an American nonprofit government benefit association owned and operated by agreement of its 34 member lotteries. MUSL, so Mega Millions is in 44 states, but MUSL is 34 of those states. MUSL was created to facilitate the operation of multi-jurisdictional lottery games, most notably Powerball. MUSL was formed in December 1987 by 7 U.S. lotteries. Its first game was launched in February 1988, Lotto America. That game was changed to Powerball. Its first drawing was in April 1992. Powerball was a unique game using 2 drums suggested to MUSL by Stephen Caputo of the Oregon Lottery. Now here's a different quote. Approximately 50% of Mega Millions sales is returned to players as prizes. Okay, and then the payers have to pay income tax on those prizes, so a lot of that goes to the government probably. Maybe half of that goes to the government in taxes. And then of the remainder that's not given and then taken and given to the government, the remainder is split between the retailers, marketing costs, and operations, and of course also to the states that are running these systems themselves. Different lotteries use proceeds in different ways. And so maybe that money goes to something good, maybe not. I know in the case of Georgia, the state lottery funds the Hope Scholarship, which allows people to attend college without tuition as long as they can maintain a B average. And everyone in high school in Georgia knows that if they can just graduate and get a Hope Scholarship, then they will save a bunch of money on college. So that's cool. But the reason why, so first of all, let's just back up a little bit. Like, the lottery is not going to get you rich, so let's just set aside playing it in order to be wealthy. What do I think of the lottery in general? The lottery is a tax on poor people that at its best will fund education. That's it. Like, overwhelmingly, playing the lottery and net worth are negatively correlated. If you play the lottery a lot, it's very probable that you have a low net worth. And I think most people would agree that it's not, like, poor people are not where we want to get additional dollars for education. And so from that perspective, I think the lottery doesn't make a lot of sense. If we want to fund education, let's fund education. Let's not come up with some bullshit like psychological game to take money from poor people and then say only under those conditions can we fund education. No, we can fund education just by funding education, and that's what I believe in. I think we should just double the amount as a state and as a country that we, and as a federal government, that we set aside for education, and and then we could attract a lot more talent into that space. And I think that would be if you attract more talent into a space, you're going to get better results sooner or later. But what caused this video today was I was listening to my world savings history book, and it reminded me that the UK in particular ran some bonds that were lottery bonds. And so what is a lottery bond? A lottery bond, it's a type of government bond where randomly selected bondholders can win a bunch of money. But they do not pay much in terms of their coupon rate. In other words, these bonds do not pay a good interest rate return. And so, if you asked me, Lewis, should I get this municipal bond or should I get this lottery bond? I would say it's a no-brainer that you should probably get the municipal bond. However, the thing is that the lottery bond is psychologically attractive to many people. And unlike a lottery ticket, you will eventually get the money back that you put into the lottery bond. Now, because you don't get any kind of interest rate, you have no protection from inflation. So I don't know what the holding period is on these, but if inflation is 3% per year and the holding period is 1 year, then you've just lost 3% of your value in a year. But you still have 97% of the money that you put into the bond, and that is a much better deal than playing the lottery, because you do not get 97 cents on the dollar for every lottery ticket that you buy. You get 0 cents on the dollar. And so, And so anyway, I was happy about this because there aren't very many savings schemes that are really effective and that game psychology really well. And I thought that this lottery bond idea really is clever because it games like a vice. It games like a defect in our ability to estimate what is worth doing and what's not worth doing, but it does it to our benefit, right? If you put away, $2,000, right? And you only get back like 1,000, what would that be? You only get back like $1,970. Is that right? I don't know. Whatever you lost to inflation, who cares? You still have $1,970 at the end of the year, whatever the holding period is, which is something that can save your ass from a disaster. Another way of viewing it is to flip it on its head and to say, it's not the lottery that you're playing. You don't win by getting money from buying these tickets. You win by having the savings, and the real lottery is that life is going to randomly kick you in the ass at one point or another. And if you have savings, then you can bail yourself out. But if you don't have savings, you're just going to sink further, and that's no good. And so, in some ways, like buying lottery bonds or just putting aside savings period is kind of preventing yourself from winning this negative lottery that we all are entered into by default. And I just thought that idea was really interesting. The fact that you can game people into doing something good for themselves through a lottery bond instead of just running a straight up lottery. And other countries have successfully run these lottery bond campaigns. There's no reason why the US couldn't. We just don't want to. The lottery system in the US is so profitable for the people who run it, and those states get a big pile of cash and the politicians in the states get to decide what to do with it. They like that system. It's bringing in billions of dollars. And so they don't really have much of a motivation to have, to run a system where they would return 97% of the money back to people eventually. That's not nearly as profitable. But for the individuals playing, it is much, much better. So there we have it. So that's just something interesting to know about, a lottery bond. I think this could actually be an interesting idea with like kids and like saving, is that like you could, if you had some kids and they saved money, you could do like a little household lottery bond thing where you're like, okay, well, you know, the amount of money that you have saved is going to be the equivalent of, you know, your percentage chance of winning this, I don't know, candy bar or whatever it is. Or let's make it something a little bit better. Let's make it like a, I don't know, a bike, basketball net, whatever people like. I don't know what kids like. And an electric scooter. Kids love electric scooters. And so, yeah. And then your kids are like, well, awesome. I'm going to save all of my money because what's better than paying my money for an electric scooter? Getting an electric scooter for free and still having my money. That's it. All right, that's it for 5-Year Club video number 173. A little talk about lotteries. Hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll just paste some of these Wikipedia links in the description so you can go nerd out on that if you would like to learn more about it. Have a fabulous evening.